driving home from Wells, coming up to Lages. I was driving. My husband was in the passenger seat. Travis was in the back seat. We were kind of, as I'm driving, I'm also glancing at my husband because we're talking, having a conversation. And just out of the corner of this eye, I saw a bright light. And I thought, oh, cool, shooting star was my original thought right away. And then I looked and it was too big. And it wasn't falling or moving sideways like shooting stars do. I've seen a lot of shooting stars in my life. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared. And I looked at Shauna, did you see that? He asked me the same thing, did you see that? Yeah, what the hell was it? He says, I don't know. Kept driving. A few seconds later, and it showed up again. And he says, okay, this is too weird. I'm pulling over. He says, no, go up to the junction. You know, get out of traffic. I pulled over anyway, started to get out. He said, go up to the junction, get out of traffic. Okay, and drive up to the junction. As we're pulling in the junction, he's looking at me, talking to me, and he sees him out my window, the side window.
To your left? To
my left, yes, out the driver's side window. And so I real quick pulled into the junction, maybe 100 feet or so from the stoplight, right between there and the big gravel pile. Pulled in. By the time I got out of the truck, it had disappeared. Standing there looking around, and it showed up in the original spot again, right in front of us. And I hollered at Sean. I says, my cameras are in my purse. Grab them. You know, see if we can get it on video. So he's grabbing my cameras. And while he's doing that, little black car pulls up next to us. Spanish guy jumps out. Couldn't kind of understand him real well because he spoke kind of broken English. And he said, are you guys seeing this? I says, yeah. Are you seeing the same thing? He says, yeah. He says, look at all the people back there on the road. And there's probably, I'm guessing, 4 or 5 cars pulled off the side of the highway, you know, within probably a 5-mile radius because it's a real flat, long stretch of road right there. And you could see them all pulling off and stopping. And he says, have you ever seen anything like this before? And we all said, no. You know, he says, well, this is the second time I've seen it. And he says, I'm from Arizona. He says, and I saw him down there 2 or 3 years ago. And he says, so this is really neat. And then right in the middle of our conversation, all of a sudden it appeared off to the left again. And there were 2 of them. And I got that one, I got my camera up in time that I barely caught him. But it was so dark I wasn't sure if I was getting him or not because my camera's just the cheap little thing that I showed you. After that, they blinked off, and then way, way, way far out in the distance. I mean, it looked like it was probably 50 miles away. It showed up again, but it was real, real dim because it was so far away. It kind of looked like the end of a lit cigarette.
So how long between it went off and then came back on? How much time passed? Approximately.
Probably 30 to 45 seconds. Okay. And Travis is the one that spotted that one. None of us saw it at first until he pointed it out and said, it's way, way out there. And, of course, couldn't get that one on video. So I didn't even bother sending you that clip. But because, like I said, it was just so tiny and really dim. We stood there for a few minutes looking around. Didn't see anything. So we were going to get back in the truck and head home. And all of a sudden in the original spot where we first saw him, there were 3 of them. That, you know, from what it looked like to me, it looked like, you know, they were about this far apart. Had quite a bit of space in between them. So it didn't look to me like it was one solid thing. It looked like 3 different things. Mm-hmm. And then, since I'd already put my camera away, I didn't catch that one. But I jumped back out of the truck, and we stood there for another few minutes. And then they came back on again, 2 of them. And I got part of that one, on one of the video clips that I sent you. Part of that one, I think that's the third one. I thought it was about the best one because you could really see them. After they blinked off, that time we didn't see him again. We stood there for probably another, I'm guessing maybe 10 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
The Spanish gentleman, he left. He was on his way back to Arizona. He left, so we stood there and watched, didn't see anything for a while, so we decided to go because Sean had to work. As we're getting in the truck is when Travis pointed out to me that he started seeing jets and stuff, and of course I don't know what's what up there, you know, with planes wise. I know they're planes because you can see them moving, you can see the flashing lights, and you can see what looked like almost like a little tail coming off of them, kind of like a comet really far away, and he told me that's what afterburners do, so I'm taking his word for that. Did see quite a few of them. I'm guessing 5 or 6 at least. Really, really fast. I've never seen things move quite that fast before. And
they were flying to the location where you saw these unknown objects. These jets were converging.
They seem to be coming from just about all different directions, and all headed toward the same spot, which is basically, as I was looking, probably just to the right of Wendover. Which I don't know if the base there is still active or not. I don't think it is. I don't think it's been active in a while that I know of. But it seemed like they were all coming from different directions headed towards Wendover.
Okay. Have you, you've grown up in this area?
All my life.
Have you ever, in your lifetime, seen anything like this before?
Like that? No. Absolutely not.
So this was the first time for you?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen some weird things, but they're all explainable. You know, I've seen shooting stars that are really big and different colors, you know, blue ones and purple ones, and, you know, but you always know what they are because you can see the stuff coming off the end of them, and you can tell they're shooting stars. And planes, of course, even hot air balloons, gliders. And this was, well, they were such an odd orange. It's like we keep saying, we kind of liken them to a street light, but they were even a deeper orange than that, but really, really bright. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I can't look at a street light the same now, because every time I look at a street light, I'm almost thinking, is that one of them?
So that is a good similarity. I mean, if you want to compare to, that would be the comparison.
It really is. That's the best thing I can compare it to. It's like being maybe a block away from a street light and looking at that street light. That's about the size, and if it was just a little bit deeper color, that would be it. You know, round, orange, bright. That's the best thing that I can relate it to, because they were that big. It was like, originally what I thought size-wise was on a full moon. If you take the full moon and you cut it in quarters, you know, 4 quarters, it was about the size of a quarter of the moon. It was big.
Did you hear any associated sounds?
Nothing. I could hear the peacocks clucking across the street. You know, other than that, I mean, there wasn't even any wind that night. Not a cloud in the sky, no wind, no nothing. It was just perfectly still.
Is there anything else?
I want to know what it is. Because at times I feel like I'm crazy. I really want to know what it is. It's got me really interested.